I got a feel for what they did, and then I immediately just made them feel like shit for being predictable. I threw the fuck out of them. When people are that weak that they can't get out of that sort of setup... Did we fucking die again? What the fuck is wrong with this ISP? Okay, just a stutter. Alright. When people show you that they have weak defense or they're really predictable, make them pay. If they show you that they're doing something aggressive or disrespectful to your offense, make them pay for that too. Alex, at this range, in this exact position where you have them cornered, this is party town. All your options are better. Lower my bit rate. It's actually not even that high. Sorry, I was checking my router to see if anything was loose. Okay. Where was I? Yeah, at this range right here, in this corner, this is where you want to be. So, your threat is throw, Kara throw, and all your media attacks that we talked about before. They have to deal with you. Watch what they're going to do. I'm really happy as an Alex player with sacrificing some damage early on in the round if it just gives me information. Like, I'll purposely do sloppily timed meaties, or I'll try to go for a really big overhead at the start of the round just to see what they do. Like, did they DP me? You've told me a lot about yourself right there, that you're probably going to go for this again. Now I'm going to do the option that beats it, which is parry the DP or block it and punish accordingly. Once you've gotten them to stop, that's when you can start implementing other parts of your game. So at this range, we've talked about throw, we've talked about Kara throw. So, by the way, just for the record, Kara throw is forward fierce with Alex. You can see him twitch. There you go. If you get the twitch, you get a way bigger throw range than your normal throw range. And he already has a pretty decent throw range. So that makes you that much scarier at this range. Like, the shimmy is real with Alex. Let's see. Right about there. There we go. Card throws are 1 frame input, by the way, folks. You have 1 frame to cancel the startup of standing fear or forward fierce into a throw. So here we are, business range again. You can just card throw the shit out of people. So you have throw, they're tech rolling. This sets up other meaties that you can do. Get them here. So if you've learned that they're going to do something stupid, DPs are down parryable. So you can option a DP by tapping low, which will also catch mash, like crouch jab mash, crouch short mash. And if you catch one of those, you can throw them again, which is, you know, the most base and stupid thing you can do. But you know what, with Alex, it's kind of okay, because it puts you back in the business situation. The real juice is knowing what they're going to do, and then hitting with, like, knee super. Whoops. And that makes him fucking big. I kind of try to avoid knee super in the corner, though, just because it takes you out of the corner. Knee chop or knee EX chop does really good damage and keeps them in the corner. Now, what other options does a person have if they're cornered like this? We talked about what to do if they hit a button. You can parry it, or you can block it if it's something risky. We talked about what they do if they want to throw you, right? The thing that you could do as an Alex player to beat counter throw, or even somebody trying to tech your throws once they've caught wise that you're just going to throw the shit out of them, is, you know, Kara throw them. Basically, throw them from outside of their throw range. And by the way, that's a ton of characters. Outside of, like, Chun and Q, who have the most massive Kara throw range in the game, and I think normal throw range, Hugo's up there, you're going to outrange most of the characters on throw range. Just counter throw the shit out of them. Wait for them to whiff, then you throw them. That's the most basic one. You can also shimmy by walking out and then using this button. This is my favorite button in fighting game history. Like, bar none. Like, this thing seems really bad on paper, because it's a standing normal that misses on like 90% of the cast crouching. So you think, what the fuck is the point, right? Like, I can't use it against like crouching Makoto or anything else. Shitty move, right? Like, doesn't seem to have that much range. Kind of stubby. You're stupid. And I'm gonna tell you why this move is fucking amazing. This button is a gift from God. This button is 4 fucking frames. Look at that. And it has like next to no recovery. So this moves as fast as his jab. Hits in a slightly better spot. Doesn't have this stupid turns into a close jab variation, which fucks you if you try to use it as an anti-air at times. This is always this. There's no close variation for it. There's no back. There is a forward, but you don't have to really worry about that. Standing strong does everything you want in a button with how fast it is and the space that it occupies. If somebody whiffs a throw against you, it's the perfect punish. Like, right around this range. You just walked out of a throw, bam, chop. It even lets you get slash elbow. It's a really good button. Also, if you think people are going to start jumping out, use this button. If you think people are going to start jumping in, use this button. Like, this button is really fucking good. Look at where it hits. Like, it's that pixel of the elbow that's tapping them. That's really strong. Become friends with this button. Know what it wants for Christmas. Get it that birthday present it's always wanted. This button is your best friend. And that's the other option you have to stop against like counter throw options. Is like you just walk out of the throw range and you give them the business. Or if you had enough charge, you do that. Which is Sonic Boom Kicks. So this is your game plan. Get them into the corner and mix it up. I've talked about the most basic options that you could do to have any kind of success. This can also stop jump outs, which is the next option that we'll cover. So we talked about this button shutting down jump outs. What else does he have? As far as anti-airs go, Alex actually has a really decent spread. He has Lariat, O Lariato, forward fierce. He has down fierce, which is a 2-hit shoulder. Which if it hits once, you can juggle afterwards. If it hits twice, you cannot. Oh, come on. I guess I can't get that on him. There we go. If it hits once as an anti-air, if it hits once on the ground, you can juggle after it. So I'll illustrate them where they work. So your big money one, so you have forward fierce, which does a ton of stun. I should probably turn on stun so you can see it. Decent damage, ton of stun. 2 hits. Combos off of 1 hit. Now, you saw that he did the anti-air grab. You can also do that as an anti-air. This is also parryable despite there being like a hit grab. Short one, I think, is the fastest. Doesn't go as high as the others, though. Or it doesn't go as far as the others, I should say. EX version is ridiculous because it's like 2-frame startup. Now, these are all parryable, and they're all pretty strong anti-air options. If people are jumping out, you can tag them with all of these. And they put them back in a shitty situation. Now, if they're jumping at you aggressively, people are going to jump in and parry. It's third strike, that's the thing to do. We've talked about the big money ones, right? They're going to know to parry these. They're going to know to parry shoulder. They're going to know to parry shoulder and punish. Excuse me. That's where this button comes in. They're looking for this. You give them this. It's fast. It hits at a weirder spot than the other ones that they're probably not going to be ready for. and it's cancelable unlike the other options. So let's say they do parry that, right? Now they have to worry about parry chop, parry EX chop, parry knee, or if you just want to be a dick, you can do parry slash elbow and just get out of dodge. This makes them deal with a ton more options. Like, what you've done there with this button is made them respect your other buttons. So, if you know somebody that's playing fighting games, that's learning Third Strike, or is relatively experienced, they're gonna parry your big buttons. Because, you know, they're big. They're kind of slow. They know what to look for. You want to do them, because look, it fucking stuns them. It causes juggles. You want to do these. You make them respect the shitty option in their eyes. Like, hey, it's a weaker anti-air, right? Why would he be doing it? Why does he keep hitting me with it? Why doesn't he stop? You've made them play your game. Once they're playing your game and they're looking for standing medium punch, guess what that opens the door to? The big money. One little thing I will talk about here about standing strong is you'll notice these don't work. Like, don't combo, right? The juggle system in this game, and this is more of a little technical thing, it's just fun to know, is in reset situations, you can combo before they get into the full reset animation if the move you do afterwards is fast enough. Guess what's fast enough? Like, this will never work with the normal ones. But that almost always works. There's a couple of ranges where it'll be too far out, but for the most part, if this will hit, the other one will combo. Just because of how fast it is. Okay, so we talked about anti-airs, we talked about my favorite button on Earth. We should probably talk about the probably least used button for Alex, just because it hardly comes up, but it's actually pretty good. Forward medium punch. It's this annoying little chop. Doesn't cancel anything, but the animation actually is where you see it, so it kind of hits above his head. Like, it hits how it hits, like how it looks like it should hit. So it can work as to stop jump outs. It can work to stop preemptive, like preemptively to stop jump outs. Like, that's probably its biggest tool, like biggest use. It can also work as a footsie tool, just because of where it hits. And, like, you know, being, I wouldn't say random, but being varied with your options is important. So, you know, we talked about these being good, right? Well, pepper this thing in there every now and then, just to give them something else to be worried about. The more predictable you are, the easier it is to lose in this game. And Alex has a ton of options that might seem shitty, or might seem lackluster, but with the proper application, and, you know, sprinkling them about properly, you can make people get worried about them. So let's talk about, let's see, other ways that you can get in. So, Alex with meter, and by the way, you always want to pick Super Art 2. Hyper Bomb's okay if you want to show off. If you pick Stun Gun, just shut up. Just don't pick Stun Gun, ever. I'm not even going to get into it in a comical way. That Super just fucking blows. Don't pick it. The other two are fine. Super Art 2 is the better one because it gives you 2 stocks of Super, which in turn means you have a shit ton of EXs. And EXs are super, super fucking important for Alex. EX Chop hits twice, does a ton of damage, ton of stun. EX Elbow, this is why you want to have meter stocked at all times, is super fast, hits twice, knocks down, and basically carries them to the corner. Like, this is from round start. I will do this constantly. I'm a gigantic scrub. I'll just say, oh, it's round 2, I have meter. Oh, I just hit you. Guess what? We're in party town. I will do this against good players that are prepared for it, because if it hits, I get exactly what I want. They got stun damage loaded. They're going to tech roll into the corner like a dumbass. You get to walk forward and just start fucking pull out your fucking party hat and a kazoo, because it's fucking party time. You got them exactly where you want them at the start of the round. Like, round 2 start, you get meter, boom. It's exactly where you want them. So this move is really good. You almost always want to have it. It punishes a ton of things, like Shoto sweeps. If you have the charge, Shoto sweeps are not free, even when spaced properly. Like, they're hard to punish at right ranges. Not against Alex. Always have that stocked. So, this is good. This is good. We talked about EX and E. Like, you'll see here, these aren't hitting grounded opponents. EX and E, however, is fast, I think with some invulnerability, and will hit standing opponents at about this range. Which means it actually can function as a reversal, as a really crappy reversal, if you get the right read, like, hey, they're doing meaty universal overhead, or they're doing meaty overhead, standing overhead. This will tag them. Gets you a knockdown, does decent damage and stun. So it's important to have EXs loaded at all times. The other EX that'll get use a lot in low-level play because people will, people will throw fireballs at you. EX Stomp, because it tracks wherever they are and knocks them down. So always have at least one EX loaded, either to put out damage or punish something that's sloppy with slash elbow, or just fish with slash elbow. Like, this move is that dumb. It's also safe against the majority of the cast if they don't have super loaded. Against characters like Ken, Chun, Necro, Dudley, I think as well, for like 1 or 2 hits. They can punish EX slash elbow pretty easily, but gauge the risk reward there. Like, if you think it's gonna hit, or you're getting a feel, or like somebody just whiffed a really big normal in front of you, knocked him down. So you knock them down, and you're in. There you go. It's worth throwing out. It's worth fishing. Really, really, really good players know the red parry timing on the second hit, but guess what? That is not something to worry about until it happens. Until somebody shows you that they can do it every fucking time and punish appropriately, keep throwing out EX slash elbow. Who gives a fuck? If you're trying to play clean and be this fucking respectful, by the book kind of thing, stop. If you play by the book, you're gonna get read like a book. Make them show you that you can that they can make you pay for this shit. So always have an EX stocked. EX slash elbow is good for all those reasons I named. Basically does everything you want to do. Gets you a knockdown, gets you damage, gets you stun, gets them near the corner. I was going to talk about meter. EX chop's also really good. Every now and then I just throw it out, just because it's a decent speed and it occupies the space you want at times. Like, it'll hit further out than standing strong, and sometimes that's exactly what you want to do. So it's pretty good, and both hits are cancelable in the super. Second hit will cause that juggle state, which is not good. First hit, however, gets you exactly what you want. So knee, chop, that's all you get. Knee EX, that's where it ends. Knee super might be kind of hard for some people. Those kind of motions might not be natural to them. But if you want to make it super easy for yourself and you want to spend the meter, you can super cancel it on the first hit. Oh, I am bad. There you go. Super cancel the first hit, and bam, you got exactly what you wanted. Okay. So, we talked about your anti-airs. We talked about frustrating people in the corner with just throw. Like, hey, did you wake up down parry? Yeah, I'm gonna throw you. Did you wake up throw? I'm gonna counter throw you. Did you wake up throw? I'm gonna poke you. I'm gonna do a meaty. You want them to be dealing with all your options at this range. Now, what else can you do against people that are throwing? Like, what if you're dealing with someone that has really solid defense and is waiting for you to try to throw them so they can tech or try to punish accordingly? That's where Power Bomb comes in. This is by most fighting game standards, a relatively slow command throw, but you can't look at it that way. You have to look at what it does. It grips them from really fucking far, and they can't tech it. Now, the jab one is the fastest, does the least amount of damage, and puts you the closest after it hits. The other ones, more damage, a little further away, more damage, way far away. Now, the fierce one you're not going to use too often, unless it's like a big punish. Simply because the distance it puts you in is not where you want to be. Like, you have to dash in, they get time to recover, and basically stick a move out before you get to do anything that's a meaty. Strong and jab, however, are your go-tos. Jab probably more than anything, just because of its range and because of its speed, because you can tick into it really easily with... Like, you can do Joan jab, power bomb, low short, power bomb, far jab, power bomb, the occasional standing strong in the power bomb just to walk up and be a dick. These are all great options, and jab power bomb lets you basically walk into space where you wanted before. I'm a big fan, actually, when they're cornered to use a strong one, just because doing a dash immediately after the strong one, due to the space that it creates, is like insta puts you back in your business range. Like, you're at max range close forward, like, you're max range close forward, so as soon as they recover from it, like if they tech roll, they have to deal with that meaty. Now, we talked about people who are going to mess with you by parrying high, right? Like, that's a really good option. You get this meaty knee. People are going to want to high parry it. What do you do then? Well, guess what this also sets up at around a similar speed? You just get to bomb the shit out of them repeatedly. This is just medium bomb over and over again. Like, this shit's fantastic. Like, as a corner punish option, go for medium as much as you can. Okay. In the mid-screen, try to do jab, just so you can kind of dash and you're at the edge of your business range. Like, if you do medium in the mid-screen, it's not that big of a problem, but look at that, you're way, way further. The only times you'd want to do this is just because you got to punish or you need to start racking up damage. Otherwise, if you need the knockdown, jab powerbomb's your go-to. Also, as you might have noticed, he jumps higher and higher with each string. What else? Oh, you can also kind of tick with standing short. So that's your use for powerbomb, and those are the little variations of it. The thing to remember there, try to use jab one as much as possible unless they're cornered. If they're cornered, use a strong one, so you can do stuff like that. What else to talk about as far as ways to fuck with people? Okay, so we've talked about powerbomb now. You know what to do if you powerbomb somebody in the corner. What other options do you have? Let's say somebody's super defensive, but they're not very attentive. Like, they're just holding down back and trying to tech throws on reaction. Like, not doing crutch techs per se, but just being super patient. We talked about all of his standing normals, right? Like, there's that, there's that, there's that, there's that. Those aren't going to open people up. You do have access to universal overhead. Alex's is pretty good. If I remember right, crouch, auto guard. I think that should make it so I can do it. Okay, there we go. He gets hit. So let's say they're blocking a ton. I think it's that. There you go. If they're blocking a shit ton, you can just start setting up universal overheads into supers if you have the meter. And that's how easy it is to set up with him. Like, let's say people are just being dicks and blocking, right? You can do the one jab. Did it hit? 6 hits? Yes. Boomerang rate is 5. That means it worked. You do the one jab. It's a super. Pretty easy, actually. There you go. You saw there it got blocked because I didn't do the jab beforehand. That didn't space it for me. Universal overheads, and this is basically the same for every character. They can go anywhere from like doing them too close to where they're punishable against a standing opponent, to being like +9, which is obscene in this game if you time them and space them properly. Like somewhere around the max range with immediate timing, you can link this. You can just link standing medium kick. What's a good knockdown? It's kind of hard to illustrate, but just know that it gives you a shit ton of frame advantage. And the one jab. Now, what's the other part of this? Like, people are going to start wising up to that, right? They might want to try to parry it. You throw something that's a little different. It still does the same job. You could do the one jab, or you could just do meaty standing fierce, aka the welcome to Earth. Ugh! Look how satisfying this move is. Just a quick aside, the one thing I love about Third Strike more than anything is how satisfying all the moves hit. Like that, the hit stop, the animation, the like subtle screen shakes, they're all fantastic. It's the one game where shitty pokes are fantastic and do psychological damage just because of how cool they look. This is definitely one of those moves. As a counter poke, it's actually not that bad. Like, it swings way in front of him. It's a little slow. You can actually smack some lows with this thing just because of where it hits. But its main use is as an overhead. It can also beat up some wake-up attacks if you meaty it properly, just because it kind of hits behind the back of their head a bit. So if you know somebody's going to like wake up DP, you can try to like do it as close and as meaty as possible. And you might trade. And the trade's usually going to be in your favor because most DPs are multi-hit outside of Ryu. And all the damage comes in parts. But yours is like, fuck you, I already hit you with this. And it gives you a shit ton of stun, as you already noticed. So that's the other overhead option you have. Now, people are going to parry, they're going to tech throws, they're going to do all this garbage. What do you do when they start doing stuff like standing up and just disrespecting you when they unblock? Like, they don't give a fuck about your lows. Your lows suck. Do you not have meter? Your low is not a threat. That's what they're going to tell you. They're just going to stand up and try to tech or poke on reaction, right? What do we have against people that stand up? Yep. Favorite move in fighting game history. Look at this thing. Look how fucking sick that is. This move is designed to hit only people standing up. Doesn't have that many active frames. Takes a while to start up. Has some dead zones in between the different ranges. Like, they all go a little further. They all do increasing damage, with Roundhouse obviously doing the most. Wait, do they all do the same damage? Huh. That one website's wrong then. Well, fuck it. Anyway. Well, they all do increasing distance there with the kicks. So, looks cool as fuck. But it's only going to catch people standing. Most people are going to crouch. Alright? Like, fighting game 101. Block low until like a high move comes at you that you have to worry about. Because those are usually slower. They're usually reactable. Don't let any bros fool you. You can definitely react to overheads. But DDT is exactly there to fuck people up for thinking they're slick. Like, this move, after a little while, jumps off the ground, which means if they try to counter throw you, like, if you kind of do the shimmy and they're going for like a delayed throw, this will catch them. Knocks them back down, and you're at your business range. Um, honestly, if you're trying to just do it in neutral, don't. You're not gonna hit it. And I'm putting that through you. I'm putting that statement to you as a fucking challenge, because this move, by all means, should not be hitting people. Everyone should be able to crouch it. Most people should just, you know, not worry about it whatsoever. But I think you're not gonna hit it. I know I'm gonna hit it because I'm the shit. I believe in this move. I believe 100% that this move's gonna hit every time I do it. If it failed, it was because of my lack of faith. You need to understand where you can make people stand up into these moves. Like, this isn't a move that anyone's just gonna hit. You have to make them fucking stand up. This character is designed to make people stand up. Like, your low options suck. Like, relatively. Like, that's it. That's that also works. Fucking unconfirmable, super high risk. People are just gonna stand up. They're gonna want to stand up and parry this. They're gonna want to stand up and parry that. They're gonna want to stand up and block it. They're gonna want to stand up and throw you. That's what this move is there for. If you're hitting this move, you have made people play your game. This goes for any low tier and not just Alex. Or any lower tier character, or any character that's designed in a slightly different way than just your standard Shoto with, these are good offensive options, these are good zoning options. Grapplers need to have this sort of mindset. Make them play your fucking game. This move says, I am in your head, I am taking my shoes off, I am breaking out the morning paper, I'm gonna crash, and I'm not even gonna ask you. This is my fucking home. I live in your brain. I have made you stand up. I have made you afraid of my other options. I am now going to spin around you and slam your ass into the concrete. If you hit the roundhouse one, you are doing the fucking Michael Jordan Space Jam and clowning these people. Because they are now afraid of you at ranges they shouldn't be afraid of you. Now, what other things does this move do? It travels a pretty good distance when you do the roundhouse one. You saw a little earlier that I showed you a great round opener in EX/elbow. Now, when it hits, you can dash after it. 2 dashes, you're kind of where you need to be. Okay. What else can you do? You can do 1 DDT, which, by the way, now built you meter, where the dashes won't. Like, if you needed some meter, you just got it from that DDT input. And you're at your business range. You can now poke them, you can scare them. Once they're so afraid of you poking them and scaring them, you can just do the DDT and then dash up and throw them. Like, that's fine. That's fucking exactly what you want. That is awesome. This move lets you get meter for knocking people down and moving into play. And if you want to be a dick, do that again. Whoops. You can do the 1 DDT. Just do it again. You could just be an asshole. That's for sparing use. That's for if you really believe in yourself. But that's what that move's there for. It's not a neutral tool. Doesn't catch jumpers. This isn't fucking Hakan. It's only there to bring the point home that you live inside their head. This move, if you hit it in neutral, you're a G, and you have nothing but faith in yourself, which is what you need to play this character. Now, we talked about that as an anti-throw option. It's decent. It's also a decent anti-high parry option just because they're going to walk into it. Those are its 2 main uses. Now, what do you do against someone that is ready for the DP, or ready for the DDT? Is still trying to parry stuff on reaction. you have my other favorite move. Headbutt. This thing is pretty fast for what it does. So, this does exactly the same damage as medium power bomb, which we already talked about is good. But I think it does like twice the stun? Like, there you go. That did about to where the M is, or maybe it does a bit more than that. Look at that. It does like 1.5 times the stun. Like, decent damage, shit ton of stun. Oh no, you're fucking stunned. I'm Alex. Ugh. Let's look at that again. Like, oh wow, look here. Oh, look at all the little stun that you take. Oh, fuck, headbutt. This move, by the way, like I mentioned it, and I'm gonna keep repeating it, is unparryable. They can't tap out. They can't fucking do anything stupid and try to guess against it. If they're waking up and mashing throw, if they're waking up and doing a super, actually, like this is fucking one of the best things on earth. This will catch them. This will catch them for trying to throw you. This will catch them for trying to high parry. Let me actually see if I can stop that. Recording mode. Look at that shit! Tell me that isn't the fucking sickest! Oops. Oops. Like, that'll work. But if I can probably save that as safe stated at the worst as possible. There we go. You can do that on Wake Up. You can do that to a ton of supers. And it feels fantastic. Like Corkscrew Blow, Chun-Li Super should never be done as a wake-up, but people will do it. You can headbutt the shit out of it. Super R3 is the most common wake-up you're ever going to see just because of how prevalent Ken is. You can just make them feel like a jackass. You kind of want the animation to be where his arm's just about to fully extend, because that's where the business is. Yeah, like if you get to that, you've probably already passed its active frames, so you're not going to stop people. But properly timed, this will beat fucking Magnetic Storm. That's the sickest shit. You just stuck your hand into a ton of electricity and headbutted them. They feel stupid. This move also has a place for punishment situations. If they miss something dumb in front of you, headbutt the shit out of them. What does headbutt do if it doesn't stun them? Alright, so you got the ton of stun already loaded up, but look at the space that you're at, right? You are at around just a little outside of card throw range. But you're in bomb range. Like, that's sick, right? You get to walk up and just do what you want. You're in medium kick range. Look at that. For a headbutt, for hitting a headbutt, you get to set up a situation where the two follow-ups that you could possibly do can just really fuck them up. Like, a ton of stun done, they're in a shitty position, they've lost a decent amount of life. This character has one combo that I talked about at the very beginning. It's the only combo you'll ever need. Like, knee EX, jump in knee EX chop, or You know, jump in, elbow. That's a ton of damage. If you ever get to just punish somebody with it, like, oh, you're stunned? That's cool, I won the round. Hey, I'm Alex. What's up? That's all you need. Like, you stun them, you fucking get to go to town. Now, the other option, if you stun them, Fierce Chop, doing that. That's the better one if you don't have the meter. Just, or if you think you can end, or you want to be a badass. I try not to do it in the corner because, as you saw, it takes them out of the corner. And, you know, it puts you in a decent spot, but they're out of the corner. You want them to be in the corner. The options, if you want to punish somebody in the corner, are that meterless and that with meter. You can also do... Whoops. That one, but again, throws them out of the corner. But back to Headbutt. It's actually pretty good as a counter poke as well. What's the best character to do this? So this little son of a bitch has some of the most annoying pokes that you will face as an Alex player.
Are you ready? Go. Prepare to strike now.
Here's typical Oro play. Did you get all that? Alright, good.
Prepare to strike now. That's cool. That's cool.
So, a little awkward to time, yeah? Kind of hard. You're going fishing. You're definitely going fishing. You have to be honest with yourself. You're going fishing. You're taking a little bit of damage here and there. Yeah, you're going fishing, but look at the fucking catch that you get when you get hooked up. You stun the shit out of them, and you've made them worried that their poke is no longer good. Are they now fidgety? Do they not know what to do in the situation where you headbutt them? Are they constantly moving? Boom! They are now somewhere around the neighborhood of half stun, in the corner, and you get to move in close. Like, that's some round-ending shit. That's why Headbutt's good. Find out, experiment for yourself where you want to use it. It also stops dash-ins. Like, it's actually really good at that because of its speed and the range that it has. If you think somebody's going to try to dash in at you, and you smell it, headbutt them. Either standing strong or headbutt them. Like, that's why I love these buttons. They complement each other. You have standing strong as a fast reaction button, and you have back fierce as, like, the big read. Big payout. So, there we go. And obviously, just from me showing you what the character does, you have a feel of why cornering somebody's important. Is that you can start racking up stun damage. And stun damage ends up being real fucking damage. And talking about stun damage, let's talk about one more thing about Headbutt. Headbutt, if you use it against a back-turned opponent, becomes choke. Now, choke's good because you can rack up a shit ton of stun. Excuse me. So if you think you can stun somebody, like let's say, you know, they're teetering on the edge of being stunned, and you hit a chop, choke the shit out of them. The choke is a mashable throw, which means the opponent can counter mash. But most people are actually really bad at it. if you're playing against somebody that doesn't come from an older game, they probably don't fucking know what counter mashing is. I've played against people before where I've explained to them, like, there's mash throws in 3S, you should mash them, or you should counter mash them, where they don't do it. They don't even press anything. If I'm getting the 9 hits off of this, that means you're letting me take this to the full extent. You can get out of that. You can definitely make it so they don't get all the hits. So what do you do against somebody that does know how to mash? You mash better than them. So how do you mash? I drum all the buttons, or I drum all the punch buttons, and I hit diagonals. Because diagonals count for 2 directional inputs at once. So, as soon as I start doing that, down, forward, up, back, down, forward, up, back, down, forward, up, back, drum all the buttons. There's a science to it. You actually want to practice it? You want to know if you're doing it right? Check this out.
Into the heat of battle. Go for it.
6 hits. Max number of hits and damage from Oro's Throw, right? Oro's Throw is unique in its shittiness because if you properly counter mash it, you can get out within 1 hit. 1 fucking hit! You can basically deny him damage from his throw if you know how to counter mash properly and you expect it. If you're counter mashing on reaction, you can get out on 2 hits. I've actually trained myself to be able to do that on a dime.
Into the heat of battle. Go for it.
2 hits. Look at that, he's still mashing.
Into the heat of battle. Go for it.
2 hits. Whoops.
Into the heat of battle. Go for it. Into the heat of battle. Go for it.
1 hit. Just because I knew it was coming.
Into the heat of battle. Go for it.
1 hit. That's how you know you're mashing right. Even if he's counter mashing, the most you'll probably ever get is 2. But that's how you can practice if you're mashing right.
Prepare to strike. Now.
Now, one cool thing, this is purely a novelty. You can link that. It's cute. It doesn't really do anything because not all the hits connect. But it's there. But learn how to mash that, because this can mean a round ender if you get the stun from it. Practice that combo. It's the only one you ever need. It's the only one you have, actually. Okay. So, we talked about how you can get people to the corner. We talked about your good normals. Just a review. These are it. And this one. And this one. There you go. And then you have your anti-airs. There you go. Now, let's talk about some of his other stuff that you'll use a bit less, but still really important. Slash elbow. So we talked about the EX one being good. The other ones are at varying levels of quality. The short one can be used like a very shitty Bison Scissor Kick trap. Well, not combo, but it's kind of annoying to deal with. Like, won't combo off a heavier, like, standing medium kick does not combo. But it does allow you to cancel in the super. Now, that's a charge motion into double fireball. Might be kind of hard for you to do. Luckily, you can do half circle motions after you get a charge, and you get the special. Which means you've already done part of the quarter circle from that half circle, which makes that even easier. Check that out. Like, learn to practice that. Like, it seems like an awkward thing to do at first, but if you're more comfortable buffering that one special into the you know, the follow-up one. Do whatever works best for you. You can try to, you know, do it when you only do it on reaction. That's fine. If you're good at it, do that too. But this move, the short one's good. The other ones are for more like really obvious punishment situations. Like let's say somebody missed a fucking DP on the other side of the screen. Just, you know, hit him with that. You know, in case you don't have meter. But the short one is not a bad move to throw out because once you hit them with this, this hits around the range that you want. The only reason I say it's not as good as some of his other options is because it's slow and it's kind of predictable. If you're doing this move, you're saying to the opponent, I know you're a dumbass and you're going to try to fidget and press a button or try to jump out, which by the way, if they jump out, they fucking die. Like, if you ever hit slash elbow near the corner and they jumped out, just start laughing at them. Does that not work on you? Or I can't remember. But regardless of that not working, you can do that, and that's sick as fuck. Or you can do that. Or you can just do that. EX1's better. That's the easiest one, probably does the most consistent damage. The strong into EX and E is probably the juice, a little awkwarder to get, but this one, you can also do this, mid-screen.
Into the heat of battle. Go for it.
Yeah, there we go.
Prepare to strike. Now.
You can get regular slash elbow, EX slash elbow. It takes a little charge buffering, but it's possible. It looks sick as fuck. There you go. Mid-screen, that gives you almost guaranteed corner carry. Yoma Buddy, quick rising. That is a good question. So, here's the EX and E. They can quick rise it. The rule of thumb in this game is you can quick rise everything that is not a super and like 4 moves. Chun, EX Mountain Kick, Oro, Capture and Deadly Blow. I mean, Q, Capture and Deadly Blow with no follow-up. Necro Snake Grab. And I don't remember if Ibuki Armpit Blast is the other one, but everything else can be quick rosen. Okay. Back to slash elbow. EX1's really good, and this one is a good poke to throw out every now and then. It just takes up a ton of space and kind of hits exactly where you want after your key normals connect. It's just another way to get in. Just don't get too predictable with it because you're going to get punished or it's going to get stuffed, and that's going to be embarrassing. Now, last move I'll go over is Stomp. This move's fun. The thing about this move is it's a sometimes food. You can throw it against crouching normals and things like that, just because it goes off the ground really fast. And you'll probably jump over normals, and you can just stomp the shit out of them, gets you a knockdown, gets you right on top of them. EX1 tracks, which means it'll go full screen, and knockdown. So a good move, decent move. This is one of those fake reversals that he has, because, like I mentioned, it gets off the ground pretty fast. So, people in Third Strike are going to sometimes throw oddly timed meaties at you, because they expect you to do a move, and they're going to try to parry it, which means their normal came out a bit later. What do you do against that option? Short Stomp. It gets off the ground super fast. Like, not instantly, so it's not a true reversal, but if they're going to try to throw you, and you read it, stomp them. If they're going to try to meaty low you, and it's not a super meaty, stomp them. There you go, you just completely turn the tables. You can do medium stomp, get on the other side. Like, let's say you were cornered, right? Oh no, he's going to walk up and throw me. There you go, you just turn the tables. You can stomp the shit out of them. And if you want to be a huge dick, this is my litmus test for how good a player is, if they can get out of this. So the computer you saw there auto blocks, right? Let me turn on Nogar.
Fighters ready. Engage.
Let's say you knock somebody down mid-screen. I've won entire games like that. This is the scrub killeriest shit ever. I've won games at Evo like that. If they don't know how to get out of it, which by the way I'm going to tell you because you the viewer know exactly what to do because you listen to me, is you wait until the very last second to block. Because if you do that, you option a parry. So you either, block at the right time, or you parry, and then you fuck Alex up for doing that move. If they're bad, or no, I don't want to say bad, that's a little harsh. If they're ill-prepared, this will fuck them up. Now, as you can see there's a couple ways to fuck with it. Like it's a high, obviously, which means you go low and do it. Or you start doing that. Or once they start blocking, hey, I'm a dick. You got so afraid of my super shitty mix-up that I got to bomb you. Or you got so afraid of my stomp coming afterwards that you're blocking high that I got the DDT you. Knee DDT will catch standing if they block.
Prepare to strike. Now.
See that? This catches every standing character. Medium kick, medium DDT. They have to crouch that. So what did we do by doing this incredibly shitty litmus test of how good are you? You frustrated somebody. You frustrated them into standing up. We get to DDT them again. Like, you've taken all your slightly less than stellar tools and made them so you can just be a gigantic asshole. And you stunned them, oh no! It's time to die. Stomp, the other strengths are okay. They might be good for big reads every now and then, but the short one is usually all you need. Short and forward. Forward will steal side, because it'll usually jump over the character. Short is right in front of you, really good for punishing throws, throw attempts, and punishing lows on your wake up. So the alternative to your wake up is usually you want to block, because that's what gentlemen do, or people of class. But if you would feel like a savage, throw this out. Maybe throw this out if you got a big read. Fucking wake up super. I didn't talk about this yet, but his wake up super is actually pretty good. Just because it hits really fast. That first punch is completely invulnerable. And it's 3 frames. His super, like we mentioned, combos off Chop, EX version. If you do Fierce Chop, you can cancel off of it. Or Jab is the only one you can't cancel. Strong and Fierce you can. You can do Low Short Super. Close Forward Super. Jab Jab Super. And if you're really good, standing strong super. Super's good, just, you know, that's why you pick Super 2, so you have access to it. The only time Super is kind of bad is if you're too far away for all the hits to hit cleanly. So I think right about there. Because there, you won't get the guaranteed grab. So that's the only times it'll be shitty. If you hit them out of the air, they'll jump off, they'll like bounce off the first couple hits of the, you know, lariat and the chop. And then you'll whiff the grab, but since they can't tech roll, you're fine. You don't care. You got an anti-air super. It was a very, very expensive anti-air. You're okay with that. And let's see. What else was I going to go over? We talked about the good buttons. Talked about super being good. Oh, neat thing about his super is it does the suplex, right? If you ever hit with just the grab part, the button you press dictates how high Alex jumps. Except they all do the same damage, so it's just an aesthetic thing. Just wanted to mention that. Okay, we went over his good options. We went over how to make people stand up. We went over how to punish people for crouching. Your general game plan. Your good tools. Like, yeah, that's good. Your DDTs. How to get people scared. Let's talk about his slightly less commonly used tools. And this is a fun one. Boot. Now, boot has some pretty significant startup. But once it does start up, if you get to that part where like his leg is sticking out, like if you get to that part, it's got a really decent hitbox on it. It's getting there that's kind of a problem. The startup actually inches him back a little bit, so you can actually do reverse kara throws where you do. There you go. He's actually moving backwards. That's sick. Next to no use as a throw option because you never want to move back when you kara throw, right? But as a move itself, you can kind of do a shimmy where they're like, oh, you're gonna throw, and you got booted. It's a little awkward at time, but it's a very good and disrespectful option just because you boot them. Boot doesn't really lead into anything, but you booted them. They feel stupid now. If you predict a really big low, or like just even a show to low forward or something, and you smack them, they feel like shit. I actually won $100 in a bet for Evo Top 8 that I could hit, or my friends bet me that I couldn't hit Mopreme with a boot for the first attack. And I did it. I basically just played a slow, patient game. I didn't even hit any buttons. I just kind of walked towards them, smelled the low forward coming at me, and I booted the shit out of him. Like, it's a psychological move more than anything. The instances where it's good, like I mean really good, is if they're jumping. But you're not going to see this too often. Remember how I talked about moves being satisfying in Third Strike? This move boots the shit out of them. And if you hit that, you get to just fucking go nuts. Like, look at that fucking damage. That is grotesque. EX chop's usually the easier one to do. But it's really good if you can hit it. Which is hard to hit because, as you can see, it hits kind of at a mid-range. It doesn't hit where like your business anti-airs are, but hey man, if they're ready for this, if they're ready for that, if they're ready for that, and they're jumping in with the intent to parry, guess what might hit them? Get to boot the shit out of them. Okay, now, what's the other move that's really not that great, but hooks you the fuck up and does real damage and does a lot of mental damage? Air down fierce. That causes a juggle state. Why is this move bad? Its hitbox is terrible, and if you ever whiff it, he does that. But against somebody in the corner, this is party time. Look at that. Mid-screen, you can also get hooked up with EX/elbow just to get the full corner carry. Like, that's sick. That's the juice one. Against some characters, you can get the walk-up stand strong afterwards. But this isn't a move you throw out constantly. It's fucking atrocious if it gets blocked. Or even if it hits standing, it's bad. You only want to do that in air-to-air, or when you know somebody's jumping out and you're just going to meet them with it immediately. You are saying, I own you. Like, I just completely know what you're doing. I am going to fuck you up for being predictable. This isn't TVC Alex where this move is fucking like an instant overhead. This is a sometimes food. This is the sometimes food. If you ever stun them... stun on, yeah. So, like, let's say you play that stun game, you got them to the corner, they're kind of afraid of you now. They're that close to stun. What do? You get to just have fun. Let's see, what is it with... Is Aura one of the weird characters? Like, that's gross.
Are you ready? Go. That's cool.
Oh, Aura's the weird one, okay. Let's pick on somebody.
Fighters ready. Engage. Into the heat of battle. Go for it.
Or Q is like the perfect, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you, dummy.
That's cool. That's cool.
If you do standing, Toward Fierce is going to end your juggle, but otherwise, you can do... basically whatever you want. So this move, you throw that every now and then. Don't do it constantly. So just to recap this character, and understanding that you have to be an asshole, you have to learn what the opponent is telling you. Pay attention to them. Like, think about you knocking them down as having a conversation with them. And like any good conversationalist, you have to pay attention. So if they're showing you that they're doing something stupid, and I'll harp on this for just a second. If somebody's wake up jabbing you out of your throw attempts and doing other stuff that you feel is stupid, if it's working, you're dumb. You make them stop. You bring the fear of God into them. If you can't make them stop, you make them pay for it. So if you know somebody's constantly mashing, walk up and tap down and then throw the shit out of them after you successfully parry. Or punish them with something heavier. If they wise up and start, clamming up and being defensive after you've shown them this part of your hand, that's when you start bombing the shit out of them. If you can't make them be afraid, because let's be real, there are some people you cannot make be afraid. You cannot fucking force any fear into them. Either because they're too stupid, or they're that brave, or they're so determined in their game plan to disrespect you that they're not going to play your game. If you can't make them stop, you make them pay. So if you know somebody's constantly mashing, you start doing meaty attacks. You start going for wake up anti-parries, like just doing stuff where you can do like, you know, if they're gonna wake up parry every day, you can just do parry super. Fuck it, plow through their attack. Like it doesn't come up too often, but it's definitely a thing you can do. This character is a little frustrating at times, just because of how limited he can feel if you don't know how to properly play against your opponent. People are constantly showing you who they are and the decisions they make. Recognize what those decisions are, and then punish accordingly. If you can't force punishment, that's where it gets a little harder for Alex. If you can't force that sort of fear, know how to create those situations. Like how to create fear. If you are definitely against somebody that is guessing right constantly, you can't train them to block a certain way or to stick a normal out in a certain situation. Recognize that, accept it as truth, play a neutral game. You know, his neutral's not that great because he doesn't get payouts off of it like other characters. Like, he doesn't get super low forwards, he doesn't get standing strong into, you know, consistent damage, like, unless you have meter. But what he does have is decent damage off of these pokes. Like, they just, by themselves, you know, they rack up stun, they rack up regular damage. If you want to play that footsie game, you have decent anti-airs to do it, that's great. Accept that reality. I have played against people, Searoyd comes to mind from Canada. I will let Searoyd wake up. Alex can have a really really fucking fearsome close-up game and mix-up right here. I will let Searoyd get up because he constantly guesses right. I probably have the shittiest record against Searoyd in terms of mixing him up on his wake-up. Where do I beat him? I neutral the shit out of him. I counterpoke the shit out of him. I stop his advances. I frustrate him to come to me. Like, I can't be so set on my one gameplay that I choke myself and just fucking leave myself out to dry by being frustrated. I mean, admittedly, I constantly get frustrated when I can't do stupid shit, but if you really want to win, and win with this character, you have to recognize that sometimes people aren't going to let you have what you want. But when you do get what you want, you get to have fun. Like, this character, more than any, ends rounds in, like, seconds flat. Let me show you something really cool. Because this will come up. Okay, let's say you are a Kuma, or you're playing against an Akuma, and they swept, but you happen to jump it. They're crouching now. Look at that fucking damage! You took away half of his life. Let's do it so it's back. Oh. I am bad. Like, this is massive on them. Like, that's huge, huge fucking damage. This character will just fucking end rounds for you. It's just getting them there. Getting them to the corner, getting them stunned. Making reads. Getting them to stand up so you can DDT the shit out of them. Like, you get the burst damage. Um, this character is all about just doing a shit ton of damage at once and forcing that situation by getting them to the corner, using your good pokes, and other times just slowly walking forward. Like, don't be afraid to walk forward and stand your ground. You also have the dash throw. You have dash Kara throw for the instances where like you're outside of their throw range and you're outside of your throw range that they don't expect it. There you go. Practice that. Put all these tools together, and you two can be a gigantic asshole. If there's any questions, I'll fire those off before we kind of wrap up, since it's like kind of late. Just let me know. In the meantime, I'm going to look at some fun stuff on the internet. Setups for Super Art 1. Yeah, I guess I can do that. Let's see. I'm not covering Super Art 3, Jesus. So, Super Art 1. This move is not that great because it is 3 frames after the flash, which means it is therefore jumpable on reaction. However, those 3 frames are invulnerable, which means you can grab through a lot of shit. Now, how can you set it up? You have scrubby ways, and by scrubby I mean just simplistic. You have jump in 360, dash in 360. You have that garbage set up. You have whiff shoulder 360. You have really slow roundhouse slash elbow that you are setting up because they are going to parry it, and then if they parry it, you 360 them because it's cancelable. See? If they had parried that, they get grabbed. You can also use it as an anti-air, since it does have those couple frames of startup. If you know somebody's going to jump in, you can wait until the last second. You can do that. You know, whiff, universal overhead, super. If you know somebody crouches a lot, this will miss against most crouchers. You can kind of like purposely whiff as a meaty, that. These are all kind of hoopty. It does a shit ton of damage and it looks cool as fuck. And it has a really cool back turn variation, which does even more damage. And goes corner to corner. Like, if you ever get a taunt off, which this increases damage per rotation. I think 8 it caps out if you hold it, or if you do like 3 individual taunts. This does really gross damage. Like, you practically killed Akuma. So if I remember right, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3. By the way, that's only for the next hit or combo, so once you touch them, it goes away. Like, that does gross amounts of damage. There's not really much to setting up SA1. Those are the hoopty ones that I gave you. Like, the most common ones is, like, you'll have anti-air, or you'll have, you know, dash in 360. Like, those are fine. Mostly because you're making people react to your dash. But since it's jumpable on reaction, that's the problem. It's mostly for showing off and getting the cool back turn variation. Chris, that is a good question. So, if you do a taunt, it boosts the next hit or combo. So, if you do multiple hits after you taunt it, they all get the damage boost. For example, let's do a multi-hit. 53, right? 77. There you go. Let's get the multiple rotations on that jump in. $92 damage. Yeah. All the hits get it. Which is why this does so much. And there you go. Let's see. So there was one other request. DDT Urian for the fuck of it. Okay. Actually, do I have Gil? Negative. Alright, I can't show that cool thing off. You can DDT Resurrection in my one video. It's on my fucking Twitter link. Go watch it. It's sick as fuck. I think that's about it. The main thing you want to learn with this character is learn the one combo you have, and then get really comfortable with all your tools. Because you're going to use them sooner or later. And, you know, you can use my suggestion of standing strong the shit out of people. Like, this move's really good, but you have to make it good. You have to know where and when you can counterpoint it. You have to know where you can headbutt people. You want to know where you can bomb people. It's all on feeling. It's all on learning the opponent's habits. If you can't do that, this character is nothing but a well of frustration. Other than that, if you have any questions on Twitter or on the eventual link to my YouTube channel that this will be on, go ask them there. Hopefully, Street Fighter V Alex is somewhere near as fun as this character. Because if not, I'll just play Loud or some shit. I don't know. Is there anything with Alex that's really novel? He's really straightforward. A lot of people say like he's really easy to pick up, but then hard to play, just because he's kind of limited. Oh, actually, this is something I forgot to talk about. As far as jump-ins go, jump-in short's really good because it's like active the whole time, so you can be annoying. Jumping around is good for jumping away and jumping in just because it hits so far. It also allows you to do this as a combo. Like, that does a shit ton of damage. And stun. And jump in fierce. This is the last thing I'll cover with this character just because it's useful. So you're going to jump in a lot with Alex just because, fuck it, dude. If you jump in and you hit it, you probably won that round. You can time this move to where it's so deep that even if they do parry it, they can't punish it in time. But people are going to get used to those two moves, right? What's the other two that you throw out? You throw out that, to set up ticks. You can also do it with jab. Jab you'll see more commonly like on closer jump-ins. Short you can do from like super far away just because it takes up the space and it's active the whole time. Jab isn't. Jab has to recover after a little while. Like if you're gonna do something really dickish, you can do that. And then his other jump moves. Jump forward is slower than drop kick, but since it's slower, it's a different parry timing, which means it can be a successful jump in where the other ones would get parried. Jump strong, really strong for an air-to-air. Decent jump in. Its main use is actually whiffing it right above their head and bombing the shit out of them. This is a strat. People are so hell-bent on parrying your jump-ins that they parry something that never touches them and then you grip the shit out of them. Go watch Japanese players, they do it all the fucking time. That's about it for this character. Go play him, he's a ton of fun, he's really satisfying. When you go off, it feels like you live inside somebody's head and you're just eating their cereal and shitting in their toilet without flushing. You're being that dude. So, go headbutt people, go DDT them. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna go fucking do drugs. Later.